Welcome to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. We're ready to go now that Mark decided to join us. I'm the editor-in-chief over at bloodygoodhorror.com. My name is Eric. Joining me first up, my brother from the same mother. He's also the web developer of bloodygoodhorror.com, and his name is Mark.
Were you just rubbing your nipples at the start of the show?
Slightly. No, it was more just a chest, like a general chest rub, just getting ready.
I mean, everyone's got to get worked up somehow.
That's right. John was just talking about wearing a Speedo at swim practice. I was just, woo, got the vapors.
Seems like a natural progression.
Next up, coming to us from New York City, he's the business manager at bloodygoodhorror.com, and his name is John Schnars.
Heyo.
And last up on the show tonight, joining us, the mistress of books and shit at bloodygoodhorror.com. She is the director of the BGH Book Club, a real thing which you may not know about if you're as ignorant as I am. Her name is Cece.
Hello.
Cece, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's been a while since, I got hammered last
That's
time I was
right.
on this show.
Well, we can talk. We're part of our festivities tonight. There's an intervention that's going to happen.
Well, look, I have nothing to drink this time.
Yeah.
So.
Because you drank it all?
Yes, I drank it all.
Heyo. We're here tonight to talk about The Shallows, a.k.a. Blake Lively fights a shark with a vendetta, apparently, and befriends a tiny seagull. That's what tonight's show's about, and a drunk guy on a beach. Did anyone else make the connection that they released this on Shark Week?
I did not until the internet told me.
Yeah, today.
Only until afterwards.
Seems like a shrewd marketing move.
Man.
It did pretty well, I think, actually, too.
I guess, Yeah.
It's no Finding Dory,
It's true.
They got that out right in front of Shark Week,
Man,
too.
dude, Jordan and I went and saw, as I talked about last week, Central Intelligence that came out the same night as Finding Dory, and they had a merch stand set up in the theater. They were selling Finding Dory T-shirts and shit at the theater. Just pretty wild. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
They're getting those parents coming and going, my friend.
It's what
Quite
that is.
literally.
What that is fucking extortion. That's highway robbery.
It's not about the going; it's the coming.
Well, it's the coming. Have you heard that also?
Don't make CC dial out. That's early in the show.
That was a super bad thing. I felt free to reference super bad now that Joe's not here to get really mad about it.
It's true. There's a problem with kids now wanting that fish that's in Finding Dory, but apparently they're not good pets and they're just being murdered and.
Oh yeah, because it's like a saltwater fish, and that's a lot more effort than just a goldfish.
Well, it has something to do with it's not good to put them in the tank with other fish and stuff, and it's a whole thing.
Do you think that someone would give me a pet seagull after I saw this movie?
Only one that's previously been broken.
Yeah.
Only
I want a broken seagull that can't fly.
Only if you can figure out how to put his wing back into fucking place.
Well, I've seen some movies with doctors in them, so I think I know how to do that.
Totally good to go.
John Schnars.
Sounds accurate.
John Schnars, this is the summer of movies, like it is every summer, basically. You want to just give our audience a little bit of a look ahead here?
Yeah, we were just talking about it a little bit because we've got a full couple of weeks here, but it looks like our next couple of weeks is going to go Purge 3, a.k.a. Purge Election Year.
The Purgeoning.
Then we're going to come back and hit Independence Day Resurgence. They've been waiting 20 years, so it's going to be good.
Also known as Resurgence.
What about
Resurgence?
What about Repurgence?
How did they not think of that one?
I don't know.
Oh, Eric, they should be contacting you imminently.
The tagline for election year is "It's not exactly make America great again. It's something very, very close."
Keep America great.
Keep America
God.
Great.
Yeah. So this is actually really quick. We've got Ghostbusters on the 15th for the Gamergate crowd, and then we're gonna hit Lights Out, which should be pretty interesting. I just caught the trailer for that this week in front of the Shallows. Then
stay tuned for that Ghostbusters show where if it's actually bad, we're all gonna have to walk on eggshells and talking about if it's bad.
Oh God.
I will say, whether it's good or bad, we
need a bunch of ladies on the show so that to balance it out.
Do we automatically have to like it just because we're women?
No, but it's okay for you not to like it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you'll get the lady humor, you know?
Oh, okay.
Well, here's my thing. I just saw, because I hadn't seen the full most recent trailer. They're really not playing up the humor. Like the trailer is not just full of jokes.
I disagree. I feel like the trailer is full of fucking one-liners, whereas like all I could think was the original Ghostbusters is like kind of a comedy. It's more of like a black comedy, if anything. Like this is that Apatow style of rapid fire. Like I'm just gonna sit here and ad lib insults for like 20 minutes, and then you're gonna take 3 takes and like I felt like that it was super jokey in the trailer.
I definitely feel like the most recent one was that way. Maybe not at first. I mean, I've always liked Ghostbusters, but I've never been like particularly excited about it, and I didn't really get interested until the most recent one, where it kind of seemed more joke based.
So out of nowhere, in this most recent one I got before this movie, is both Slimer and what looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which wasn't in the original marketing. Which how do you not put that in the original trailer? Like,
I mean, you'd think they're trying. I was figuring they were saving it for like some fan service.
They're going pretty hard with all the they are selling like Twinkies with green filling on them with like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They're selling Ecto Cooler again in limited quantities.
Well,
pretty wild.
You know why? Because when Star Wars came out, it was like on literally everything and made a bajillion. Like it was on mac and cheese.
I'm very anti the Kobe Bryant commercial. Like that actually makes me want to watch the movie less. I don't know if you guys saw that. They were on during all the NBA playoff games.
Oh, I know which ones you're talking about. Yeah, those do not.
Kobe is a douchebag, and douchebags should not be affiliated with interesting movies.
You know what's just been fascinating to me, and we can talk about it. I mean, we've talked about this some, and we'll...
Is it about Kobe?
No, it's about Ghostbusters. Like,
oh, okay.
I mean, the shitty guy stuff regarding this movie has not taken me aback because like I'm not new to the internet, Mark. I've been here a little while. What did take me aback is like I had no idea the number of people and the intensity of like reverence that people have for the original Ghostbusters. Like who would have ever guessed that? Like, look, I'm just going to make a controversial statement right here. I would rather watch Ghostbusters 2 any day of the week.
Ooh, damn.
No, that's crazy.
Because of the fucking... Dude, he controls the Statue of Liberty with an NES advantage.
The toaster can dance.
Yeah. He jokes about masturbating with the goo, okay? Like, that's fun. Like, whatever. But that's just a function of how old I am and the fact that I was watching Comedy Central every day in a period of time when they played Ghostbusters 2 literally every goddamn day.
I think John might also take offense to the fact that that movie represents the point of view that New York's cold heart can be warmed with music.
But it's a little a little like when they first announced they were remaking Halloween, and even myself, like I was just not really mature enough at a point to handle news like that, and we were very new to this whole like they're remaking everything in my childhood, and everybody was still very resistant to it. But it's now that same sentiment with no like maturity whatsoever on this new movie that I never in a million years would have guessed had like people just being like, this was the most important movie of my childhood. Like,
do you think that there's some like 70, 80-year-old person out in the world that was really pissed off when they remade Little Shop of Horrors?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet gets pissed about everything.
I just think people haven't figured out that like when a and we're as guilty of this as anyone, as I'm sure. Like if you go back to some of the earlier shows, but I don't think people have realized that like when you make a movie or like reboot a property, it doesn't automatically, like if you go to Netflix and you go to Ghostbusters and try to watch the old one, it's not going to show you the fucking new one. It's like still a movie you can watch.
It's not going to erase those.
My point is, if I can handle what Michael Bay
does not compute, Mark.
If I can handle what Michael
They
Bay
don't have the
did,
technology yet.
if I can handle what Bay did to the Ninja Turtles without losing my mind, then everyone else should just deal with this Ghostbusters thing, because you know what I did? I just didn't go see those Ninja Turtle movies. Like that's all. That's all I did.
Well, hold on. I'm kind of curious to watch this at some point. So
I mean, I loved Ninja
John,
Turtles,
next
and
time
I
I'm in
was
New York,
really
Ninja Turtle party.
They
There we go.
have teeth and lips, John. That's all I gotta say.
I'm not excited about the movies, and I eventually watched the first one, and I'll watch the second one. But I mean, I don't need to like
Yeah.
actively hate on it. Just
I
because
gotta
it's-
say, they did at least get Bebop and Rocksteady in the new one, which
See,
props.
I
But
mean,
like, they made them
yeah.
aliens. Like seriously, come
Well,
on.
And Casey Jones. Casey Jones is in the second one too. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but never mind.
It's
No,
it's
I,
all
what?
but it's
I
ridiculous. But
love
my
Stephen
point is,
Amell as Arrow, and like I love him as an actor, but he's not Casey Jones. He's not.
I'm gonna move us along here because I want to talk about another movie that is not currently on our schedule, but I am going to make the case that it should be. And I saw the trailer during The Shallows. That movie is Nerve.
Yes.
Did anybody else get
Ah.
this?
you-
I did
tell
see
me-
that. That's
Yes.
tell me what it is, and then I'll remember.
Nerve is about a universe of the present / near future where people either play or watch this game called Nerve. And if you're a player, it's basically like Truth or Dare. They explain it as Truth or Dare without the truth part.
I did
And
not get this.
Oh man, you should watch the trailer because it's basically like a twist on the like Truman Show, extreme reality TV / like some of the like socioeconomic stuff that comes into reality TV these days and voyeurism, but it goes like kind of off the deep end into like pretty grim, dark places, which is why I think we should probably be able to cover it.
Here's a shorter version, Eric. A high school senior finds herself immersed in an online game of Truth or Dare, where her every move starts to become manipulated by an anonymous community of watchers.
Ooh.
And Dave Franco and Emma Roberts are most prominently in the preview. If that drums up any,
I like Dave.
Like, you've
Actually,
seen it?
I actually really enjoy both of those people.
I mean, I just saw Neighbors too. I love Dave Franco.
Yeah, Eric, watch the trailer. It's nice because it is a current open week right now. It's the last week in July. But yeah, so that would be the other one coming up.
Did we decide we're kicking Neon Demon to Sophisticult? Is that
Is correct.
/ the remake of Starry Eyes? Because it looks like it might be.
John,
the same
let's also just talk quickly. I don't know when it is in the schedule, but the movie you were mentioning pre-show with
Morgan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that
Morgan is
looked
currently
interesting.
not on our schedule because it wasn't even sort of on my radar as a possibility. There is another movie that was penciled in. It's the week of September 2nd, I believe. There was another movie called Solace that was listed as a horror movie. I'm going to have to double check on it. But, we're also far enough away that a lot of this shit is going to get bounced around. Yeah, it actually looks like they're both still coming out that same weekend. So we can kind of play it by ear.
Okay. Delightful. So basically, tons of weeks in the theater next week. Purge, Anarchy. Those are your highlights. CC, really quick, can you give me an update on the BGH Book Club? What is that, first of all? Like, if somebody wants to get involved, where would they do that?
What is a book?
There's this thing called a book, and it's
Go on.
normally printed.
thing?
Sometimes it's on the
I
internet.
don't get it. Start over.
You know all those web pages you read on the internet. Somebody compiles them all together.
They have porn in them?
Some do actually. You could get a porn book if you wanted.
Okay. All right.
The BGH book club is on Goodreads. We just moved over there from our Reddit, so it's a little easier for. If you're into books, you probably know what Goodreads is. But we are currently reading. I think you say her name, Ania Alborn. Her book, The Shuddering. Last summer we read Within These Walls, which was kind of like cult related, and The Shuddering is kind of a monster based book. So we are reading that through July. If that sounds interesting to you, we haven't started yet. We don't actually start until this Sunday, so you have some time to check it out if you're interested.
How has the Goodreads transition worked?
Well, I think that we've gotten more activity, like more people want to respond because it's kind of set up. It's more set up like a Facebook for books.
Well, and I assume a lot of our readers were already on there.
Yeah, like a lot of people were already on there.
Yeah.
So all I did was basically start a group.
So I didn't have to make a new account.
Yeah, like you can share, but like you can share recommended books,
Uh-huh.
or like I've like set up polls to vote on what you want to read for upcoming months instead of me just picking them. So I think it's gone good.
Sweet.
Awesome. Last point of discussion tonight, breaking news. Mark BGH met his niece this weekend.
Oh,
Sure did.
Exciting.
She's so tiny.
What's your review? What's your review?
Give us your review, Mark.
Yeah.
She spit up on me and was still really cute.
She's very tiny.
She's very sweet.
Yeah. It was really weird. It was really surreal seeing, because like my mother-in-law set up some stuff, my parents set up, so like she probably met 50 people this week. Actually, there was maybe more like 100 because we went to Mark's wedding thing briefly, but it was really bizarre and surreal seeing like pictures of other like larger people than me holding her, because then I actually realized how tiny she is, because she weighs like 7 pounds.
She does have quite tiny feet.
Yeah.
Very, very cute. I was glad I got some. I had a crazy weekend of traveling all over the place, but I was glad I got to meet her and hold her for a little bit, which is really sweet.
Yeah, I don't get people like I've met some people who are like, oh, my like sister-in-law doesn't let people hold her baby, and I'm like, what? Aren't you just like, she's great, but like if other people want to hold her, go for it, bro. Like I do it every day, all day.
My
Super
boss,
sweet.
if you have a baby, she like bogarts it. Like my really good friend just had another baby and she brought her in to meet everybody, and my boss would not let anyone else hold her. I don't know if that's the same thing, but I was like, you have 2 grown children of your own. Like, I think you've already been here.
Babies,
Chill,
man.
lady. Just chill.
Babies. All
Creeping
right.
everybody out.
That's gonna do it for the beginning of the show. Lucky for you, there's a whole other part, John.
Oh my God.
So
the
let's
good Lord.
We're going till 11.
let's take a quick break and review The Shallows.
What are your qualifications?
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? You think I'm qualified?
Hello, this is Jeremy Gardner. I'm the writer, director, star of The Battery, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. From the prime time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back. Beetlejuice. Hell of a
Sure
film.
are.
Now that's
Strong
a film.
play there.
That's a
That's
film I
another
might
one
be
that
upset
has-
about if it got remade.
Wait, what'd you say?
I might be upset if they remade that with like Jared Leto or something.
I feel
Well,
like they
no,
might-
it would have to be like an all-female Beetlejuice, and then you'd say like sexist things. And just, like, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
An all-female
even think-
Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
so just a female Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Her
like,
name-
Basically.
Who
her name-
exactly would be Beetlejuice?
Her name
though?
would be Beetlegina,
I mean, dude, I would
starring Rebel Wilson.
hold on, Winona Ryder as Beetlejuice. Like,
Oh,
couldn't-
twist!
Yeah, couldn't that work?
And she haunts Michael Keaton.
But is he
Well.
like old Michael
Yeah,
Keaton? No,
yeah.
we'll see.
But he plays a 16-year-old girl in a twist.
How about Dave Franco? She haunts Dave
She
Franco.
haunts Dave
Yeah, there we
Franco. Listen,
We're
as
so
lo-
good at writing movies.
Listen.
I feel like all of our movie ideas are the best movies.
Hollywood, just call me if you know.
you have the mind of a child. All right, Schnars.
yes.
It's in the movie.
Schnars, you went to Duke.
That is correct.
I don't know how you live with yourself, but that's neither here nor there. Every week on the show, we do ask you to bring us a fancy word, so let's take a break so that we can do that. Are there support groups about like how to walk around and be a dookie and like be okay with yourself?
Aw.
We have Duke clubs in many cities, Eric. If you'd like to,
Yeah,
get
it's
some
called the-
information.
I
It's
really
called the
like term
KKK.
Dookie. That's what I really like.
All right, I'm moving along here.
Yeah.
Today's word is poikilotherm.
What?
That's
It's fucking
POIKILOTHERM.
made up.
A poikilotherm is an organism whose internal temperature varies considerably. It is the opposite of a homeotherm, an organism which maintains thermal homeostasis. The term that you're probably most familiar with is cold-blooded. So poikilotherms are often are animals whose body temperatures vary, but often with the outside temperature, fish, amphibians, and reptiles.
She's
and
as cold
sharks.
as ice.
Yes, sharks are poikilothermic because their body temperature mirrors that of their surroundings, or at least moves in line with their surroundings.
Like a doll's eyes.
Like a doll's eyes. Sure.
Cool. Thank you, John.
Yes.
If Joe were here, he might say that was okay.
I
hard to
live
tell.
for Joe's approval, so it's tough when he's not here.
Why don't you give us the skinny on The Shallows? And by that, I don't mean all the weird lingering shots on her butt in this movie.
I mean, well, all right, we can come back to that, but so The Shallows, directed by, I'm actually not 100% sure how to pronounce this, but I would say Juame Colesera. He is most likely best known to the crowd here as the director of Orphan, but he actually began his directing career with a little film called House of Wax.
Oh, nice. Refresh me on Orphan.
Orphan is the one about, I think it's Vera Farmiga.
Guillermo del Toro?
No.
Produced it?
It's a girl with she's got like a boat around her neck.
Oh, midget lady killer.
Yes.
Yes. God, I was really trying to not spoil
Spoiler
it.
alert for anyone who
alert.
hasn't seen the movie.
This guy has also worked pretty extensively with Liam Neeson. He did Unknown and Nonstop, two films which I have not seen, but I would watch. In any event, he is now directing a shark, and what is her name? Blake Lively, in a lovely duet. Blake Lively plays Nancy, who goes on sort of a solo adventure after the death of her mother from cancer. It's not really solo, but she's with a friend, but she's essentially
a shitty friend.
Yeah, I mean, a really not good friend. But so she goes to Mexico to find this beach that her mom went to surf at when she was first pregnant with Nancy back in 1991. And she has all these pictures of it, and it looks very kind of picturesque, and it's very secluded. In fact, it doesn't really have a name. So she gets driven out to this beach, and she starts surfing there. And she meets there's a couple other dudes that are there surfing. There's like a local Mexican guy, and then maybe some, an American who's kind of surfing with them. And when they disappear, essentially she's out by herself. She's kind of going to catch one last wave, and she gets attacked by a shark. And
what?
Yeah,
Twist.
You wouldn't have believed it from the trailer. The rest of the film is really her trying to survive this shark, which essentially will not let her escape the shallows, as you will.
Beautiful.
Will not let her escape its jaws.
Well, ooh, I see what you did there.
And it's coming from the deep.
Yeah. There's not really any other twists or turns. We could talk a little bit about her seagull friend.
We're going to talk about Steven Seagal.
She develops a deep and one would imagine lasting relationship with a seagull.
I had a moment in this movie where I thought, like, if she survives this, do you think she could, like, domesticate that seagull? Like, you know how sometimes you see weird stories about, like, oh, I saved this duck's life, and now he just follows me around everywhere. We're best buddies. Like, could that happen with a seagull? Or would that be cruel to, like, try to make a seagull live in a condo?
I was going to say, I don't know that, I mean, aren't seagulls kind of like, I don't know.
Dirty,
I don't want to,
dirty
I was going to
animals.
say, like, dirty.
This one seemed hella chill, I'm just saying.
Well, he had a broken arm. What else was he supposed to do?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't trying to become shark food, so.
Mark, what do seagulls dream about? I mean, what did you think of this movie?
Well, they're very similar, you see. I thought this movie. So one thing to point out, and I don't know what your experience was. My theater was packed for this movie, and there was a lot of children in the theater. This was last night at like 7:40, so that was interesting.
On a Tuesday?
Yeah,
Wow.
7:40 on a Tuesday. Theater packed to the gills.
I had a not packed theater, but I saw it on I saw it on Monday night, and similarly, like fairly, like way more crowded than I was expecting for a Monday night.
I saw it on a Friday night, super packed, and which is like for it doesn't happen very often because I see movies on Sunday mornings usually, and I almost ordered a drink because everyone around me was getting crunked, and I like picked up the menu, and it sucks because they must have one of those liquor licenses where you can only serve like mixed drinks. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh man, if I could just get a glass of whiskey right now, it'd be amazing. But I was like this close to ordering a margarita. But
sir, I would like an entire bottle of Jim Beam placed at the side of my chair.
Like that would have been sweet.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think that it's it's kind of funny. Like it has, I'm guessing it has a lot of mainstream pull because of Blake Lively, and I think for what like she put forth a great performance in this movie. I think that I feel like with a different actress, maybe this movie might have fallen apart because there's some like huge leaps in logic and it's kind of goofy in parts. But honestly, I found it to be really enjoyable, and also it was like 80 minutes long. So even if it was bad, it was short, but it was good. So it was great but it was also good that it was short. It was like kind of like the perfect length.
Can I ask a point of reference question? Is Blake Lively that famous?
I mean, she was on Gossip Girl, right?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I mean, if you're gonna like grade them in letters, she's like a B+ actress.
To a certain demo, I would say super famous.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of females know who she is because of Gossip Girl and because of like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and some of her other movies.
She's also married to Ryan Reynolds.
And then she's also married to Ryan Reynolds. So
wait, are they still married? I thought
they just had a baby.
Over the past like month and a half, I've been around every extended member of my family and my wife's family, and so like this preview's just been on the TV, and people are like, "Whoa, Blake Lively, what's she doing in a movie like this?" Because I think people are used to seeing her on Gossip Girl, and she's famous in that way. And
I mean, she was famous enough to be the leading lady in Green Lantern 2011. So. Yikes.
Yeah, but like I think that was like she was on this upward path, and then that happened, and then she had a few movies that she was like she was the lead actress that kind of didn't do so well. But I mean she's a decent actress, so I think that she's just kind of been able to.
No, I mean you're actually exactly right. She was in Green Lantern, bomb. She's in a movie called Hick, which I've never heard of. Savages, which I've actually read the book on. I never watched.
Yeah,
Savage. It was okay, but I mean, it didn't. I don't think have a very good reception.
Yeah, I don't think that did well, but it was pretty high profile when it came out. I feel like
she then did The Age of Adeline, which I know we all rushed out to see, and something called Cafe Society, and then this movie. So like, she's clearly not good, but I'll take it. It's a point taken. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so I liked it. That was my point.
Cece.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I went in kind of not expecting too much, but it was fun. And I mean, like Mark said, there were a few, leaps in the plot line that if I didn't pay attention to, it was fine. But I mean, if I'm going to sit there and pick it apart, we could talk about it. But
I want to come back to these because I'm curious there's like one major one to me.
Well, it's really just like the major one, or like
the fact that she survived without water for like 3 days.
Okay. She was out there forever. I mean, was she eating the whale? Because I mean, I guess you could, but that's really gross.
No, well, you can survive without the food. She would be dehydrated and like die.
She was. Did you see how cracked her lips were?
They looked pretty good at the end there. I don't know.
I disagree.
In her bag.
I disagree.
So, I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised, and I mean, I thought the CGI with the shark was entertaining. Like I wasn't distracted by it, which I was wondering if I would feel that way. So yeah, I liked it overall.
Yeah, the CGI wasn't horrendous, but they're like, and in the beginning, I feel like there was a couple shots where I kind of went like,
Well, I mean, when her face was kind of like CGI'd on the surfer, that part was a little distracting. But
you're telling me she wasn't surfing?
It was very Paul Walker.
I actually wondered, oddly enough, I actually wondered if she was surfing. So fool me.
Oh man,
I was
would
talking more
love
about
if we
when
found
the,
that she actually did do the serving scenes, and then
Uh,
these feel so
when the
bad.
shark
I mean,
when the
I
shark
would totally take it back, but it didn't seem that way to me.
when the two surfers get attacked later on, like that shot in particular, I was like, yeesh, that is some fucking bad CGI right
Yeah.
there.
Oh
Well,
no,
but, I mean,
I
I've
was
seen
fully on
worse.
board for that.
Um,
Oh god.
John, did you go? Go ahead.
No, I didn't go, but I
Somebody look up if she did the surfing in this movie.
I generally like this movie. I think I said over email, it is the thinnest plot that you can possibly have and still somehow squeeze an 85-minute movie out of it.
There's a shark.
Yeah, it's literally her on the rock for 45 minutes.
Hey, there's a shark.
I mean, I don't even know what she did. If she was just laying on that rock, it was crazy. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff to me, right? Like, the shark. It's not like Jaws where they build the shark up and they kind of like they don't show you a ton of the shark, and I think that's probably a budget constraint. But unlike Jaws where they kind of like build up the mystique of the shark, there's none of that because she doesn't have anyone to talk to. So it's literally just like it's all visual, and to the credit of the director, he manages to kind of like build up your anticipation around the shark even while showing it to you a little bit. And then when they do kind of spend a lot of that CGI budget to kind of do some of the final sequences, it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it is very short. It's a great summer kind of horror slash. Well, it's not even horror. It's more like a thriller, I guess. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree actually with the basic sentiment. Like this movie is dumb, and this movie is fun, and it is like a great like mixture balance of those two things, and they complement each other really well. Like I think that Blake Lively's pretty good. I think that the suspense is like really pretty decent. Like there's a nice visual tension in this film. The thing you have to know going in is that nothing makes sense. Like not that it doesn't make sense, but it's just the logic is so silly in this movie, and you have to go in just thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna like watch a fun thriller and not overanalyze this, because like it starts from the very beginning, the idea that like, you know, I can't think of a place that is safer to ride out into like the jungle with a strange person and get dropped off in the middle of nowhere where you don't know the name of the beach than Mexico. Yeah. That's, I mean, first of all.
I mean,
dude, that guy was super nice, by the way.
He was.
I would say I have friends who do that, so that's not really.
Well, you can give them my number after the show, and I will tell them that they are dumb if you would like.
Well, we try to tell her she's dumb, and she won't listen.
Well, show her this movie. It's basically like a cautionary tale for her.
I went to Amsterdam with her, and
show her this very realistic movie.
So, you know, like that's so dumb. You know, she pops the seagull's wing back into its shoulder, which is adorable, and they become best friends. But like, because she's a doctor, she understands wings. Like, how the fuck does that?
Wouldn't it have flown away once its wings started working again?
Well, no, I think he was healing, John.
Oh, all right.
You would think so, but
do
maybe
you
it
just
was,
start
it was
throwing
showing her compassion and staying there to the end of her days as well.
Would you just start throwing a football right after getting your shoulder popped back in?
I mean, I would, to make sure it worked, I guess. If that was my
underhanded, maybe.
And like the leaps in logic just go through the whole movie. Like we're to believe that this shark like needs to eat her so bad that it's just circling this rock for days on end, waiting for her.
Maybe the shark knew she was Blake Lively. I mean, if you saw a hot surfer, you're like, if I'm gonna eat a surfer, I'm gonna make sure it's Blake Lively.
Let me keep
I'm
going.
with Cece on this one.
Schnars, let me keep going, then we'll go back.
All right, okay.
But like. Then she sews up her leg with a necklace that you can clearly see on film is not sharp enough to actually go through her skin.
Well, no, what she did is she used the necklace she was actually using her earrings to sew up the thing.
True. She was just using the necklace to like poke
that round thing?
Yeah, it was
like
confusing.
moon? I don't know.
But she wasn't sewing it. She was literally like stapling it shut with her earrings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then all of this leads up to the finale. There's a disappearing dead body at some point, which we can talk about. Although I guess you could say the tide.
Yeah.
But all this leads up to the finale, and like the least sensical thing I have ever seen on film, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But like I really like this movie, and I came out of it going, that was fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you just have to. It's weird. In one way, it's oddly more competent than you expect it to be going in. Like acting wise, directing wise, it is a really solid, tight little film. But the problem, like the issues or the things you're going to have to overlook, all stem from the script, I feel like.
Yes, that is. I mean, it's so I don't know. Like most of the things you guys are talking, or at least that Eric mentioned, like didn't bother me all that much. Like the fact that the shark like kind of won't leave her alone. Like I don't know. Maybe sharks just fucking hang out.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
a single
you're right.
place. So like that wasn't that weird to me. It was weird that it just kept circling, But again, I don't know how sharks work.
Or like
maybe it was just really hungry.
You're
I
not
guess.
a shark psychologist, John. You don't know.
Well, it definitely wasn't hungry because it had a fucking huge
Right.
rotting whale that it could have just been chilling on.
It had a whale and like it eats people. Like she couldn't have just swam away while it was eating one of those friggin' people.
Yeah, it did eat like 3 people, so that's fair. No, I mean, listen, you're right, but
I don't
at the end
care.
of the
I
day-
like the movie. It's just funny. Like you can't not talk about these things.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Well, it kind of it doesn't really build on itself, right? Like one of the moments that I sort of I thought was really ridiculous from a continuity perspective is like there's a scene which actually honestly is one of the best scenes in the movie where this like she discovers this is like pretty far into her being stranded and she sees this fat drunk guy on the beach who like decides to like start pawing through her bag and like take her wallet and then he's like fuck it, I'm just gonna take the whole backpack.
It's a great bait and switch though, because she wakes up I think on the first morning after she got stranded and she just sees a guy drunk on the beach and is so relieved and like it's like the first real like potentially positive thing, and he gets up and he stumbles around and she gets his attention, and then directs him to the bag where he promptly just starts robbing her.
Just starts robbing. Well, and then has this amazing fucking idea that only a drunk person can have, which is I've already stolen her backpack. I'm gonna swim out in the ocean and steal the surfboard. Is why the fuck not? And of course he swims out and he gets eaten in fucking half.
I mean, but it's justice. I took it. I appreciated that.
No, totally. I'm not saying it's no, he gets like this was PG-13, right?
Yeah.
No, was it really?
This was like a particularly grisly scene for PG-13. Like you see like it starts off and it looks like he's one person and then he's crawling away and it's become apparent that the top half is separated from the bottom half.
I am shocked.
Via shark.
I'm shocked to learn that it's PG-13.
So my issue wasn't with that, although now that I'm thinking about it, like how the fuck does a shark perfectly cut a man in half and deliver him to the beach?
Yeah,
Look,
that's the part
that we don't know about sharks.
It's the part. It's the part where both pieces end up on the beach. That's like what?
That is the weird part to me. Like, wouldn't it have swallowed the bottom half?
No, he spit it out and slingshotted it into the beach.
He's like, that too much tequila.
Just for the sake of it.
Nice.
Well, like if it's like if you've ever like bitten an ice cream sandwich through the paper, like maybe his clothes were like keeping it all together and he made it to the beach.
I love that you just compared a human body to an ice cream sandwich.
It wouldn't be the first time. So my issue with the continuity wasn't that, which is by itself ridiculous, but a pretty awesome visual and kind of a funny scene. But it's the later when the other two surfer dudes show up, the movie it's not well staged enough to know where this body is, but my assumption is that the body is pretty close to the backpack. And so when these guys show up in the beach, like to go surfing again, like they don't notice this like fucking fat drunk guy who's been bisected and
that is right a very to me.
So
that's the best plot hole that I cannot explain.
The only thing is they do very much focus on the shift between high tide and low tide, and I cannot remember where it was at that point in the movie. So if it was low tide, the body could have pretty easily been pulled out, I guess.
Wait,
sure.
That happened before the tide because she's stuck on the rocks. Like that's later on, right?
I don't remember.
I can't remember because I
will buy Eric. That was the best explanation I think we're gonna get for this particular plot hole.
Yeah,
but,
touche,
Eric. It doesn't. I mean, we can dig at this a lot, but like it's just kind of a fun watch, and I think because it's so short, you kind of just get through it, and you're like, oh, that was pretty fun, And really, where this movie,
it's also really fun to talk about the plot holes. To be fair,
it is pretty fun. I mean, this movie is like 90% Blake Lively, just figuring it out, like, I've got this big gaping hole in my leg. What am I going to stick in it to plug it up?
It's like, it's the water equivalent of that movie where James Franco has to cut his own arm off. Like it's
yeah,
one of those
that's true.
things. It's a character stranded in a place, and you are gonna watch for 90 minutes them suss things out in their head and talk to themselves and seagulls and.
But I mean, like we said, I appreciate that. I mean, Blake Lively did a really good job. Like she was believable as like a medical student dropout who is just wanting to surf now, and she didn't come across as like the Olivia Wilde like super hot scientist that's
Totally, and the only way those
we have to bring this dog back to life.
The only way those kinds of movies work is if the director and the lead actor are both really good, because it not only does it take a really like tour de force performance in a lot of ways, but it takes a director that understands visual tension, because that's all it is. Like if you look at the early scene where, like when she first gets stranded, she's trying to signal the guys on the beach as they're getting ready to leave, and that scene goes on for like 5 minutes of just the car even stops at one point and they get out and she's like, oh my god, and then it turns out he just had to like throw something else in the back of the truck.
Well, like what would they have done? I guess they would have had to go get a boat and like.
But those moments are all about pacing and editing and like the way you structure those shots, and that stuff's all done super well in this movie.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't know. There were times, and I don't want to like sound like a total asshole, but like the like mom had cancer stuff was like, it got a little long in the tooth for me by the end, pun intended.
I'm going to be a fighter just like her.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like they could have dialed that down like one notch.
It was at least an attempt to add a little depth to the proceedings.
Yeah, I mean.
But were you like? If only, like,
no
if her mom hadn't died of cancer, you would have been like, "Fuck her, let her get eaten by the shark."
Well, it was. I don't know, man. They had to do something to give her a characterization, right?
I was gonna say, I think that was more of just her own character development.
Yeah, but I guess it does explain why she's on the beach.
It's just that it's a little cheap. Like you could have
explained why she refused the offer of the nice man who dropped her off to come pick her back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Uber. She said she was going to take an Uber, which I don't think that's how that works. But
I thought
when you
that
don't
was
know,
a joke, but apparently she was being serious.
No, she was. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking
Historically, I was surprised at how good her cell phone reception was on this. Like,
no.
My mom was really. I saw this with my mom, and she was super pissed about that. She's like, "That's the most unbelievable part of this whole movie."
This may be one of, if not the first time that someone on the show has seen the movie with their mom. Is that true? That's got to be true, right?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe I just don't tell y'all. She goes to a lot of the movies.
Nice. Nice.
I took my dad to see Dracula when we saw Dracula.
Oh, Dracula Untold or whatever it's called. Nice.
What I was gonna say, Schnars, is that it's just a little cheap to like, oh, my mom's dead. You could have had almost the same character using the same tools of like the phone calls and the FaceTimes, and just had it be like maybe she's just a lost person and she's trying to find herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's like,
I do think people would just be like, whatever. She's a privileged rich girl.
But your point being, like, when you throw in the dead mom, it's like, oh, you're a final girl. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You probably have a nice TV at home.
I kind of got to the point where I was like, I think I got you here with the cancer and the surviving and whatnot. So,
yeah. I mean, it is
about...
like, especially in the very end. In the very end, it gets very sentimental, like around that particular plot point, which seemed like really silly because this movie is sort of like. It's this movie where people are getting sort of gleefully murdered by a shark, and it's like all this like torture shit, and then it kind of like turns into like a silly little ABC Family movie at the end. But
I would like to note for the record that this contained my now new favorite jump scare of all time, which is the California surfer bro getting eaten by the shark.
Getting a surprise shark.
Just SeaWorld, just like SeaWorlding up out of the water and like out of nowhere.
I mean, it was just incredible. Like, do you disagree that it was not incredible? I mean, like, it was just amazing. I literally jumped and at the same time was like clapping, like, yes.
I love that. Like she yells at.
You also bit a surfer on the way up as you were.
Well, there's great foreshadowing too, because we actually see the death in the beginning of the movie on the GoPro.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, yes,
No,
that
so
was
like,
interesting.
so like you know it's coming, but you're just waiting for it.
You know it's coming, but you don't know how good it's gonna be when it happens.
I think, yeah.
That was an interesting use of the sort of foreshadowing, then flashback type of
Yeah,
thing.
I kind of liked it.
No, yeah, it was fine.
I couldn't tell if like the audience that I was sitting in loved the movie or thought it was the dumbest thing they've ever fucking seen, because people were like laughing and yelling. It was like a really rowdy crowd, and I wasn't sure like where they landed.
Well,
I
but
feel
like
if
that
people are
person
reacting, that's good.
Yeah, reaction is good, I think, for sure. Can we talk about the ending?
Sure.
Like the very ending.
Well, like I guess before that, I just want to say if I have one complaint about this movie, and I talked about it over email, it's that it feels like it felt torture-y to me at times, and what I mean, like obviously not like Saw, someone torturing somebody else, but like the story torturing Blake Lively and making me watch it, and so like.
There's a flare gun embedded in her stomach. You need to dig it out.
Yeah, in the very beginning, like she gets bit by the shark and she's got this nasty bite on the inside of her thigh. And there must be 25 minutes of this movie devoted to her like dealing with this wound, right? And like spread out throughout the movie. And like
there weren't many other plot points.
Right. That's
I
my
mean,
point. She's sewing it back
focus on
together.
anything.
She's trying to get like rip off the arm of her wetsuit to put it on her leg. Like every time she moves, she's like in horrendous pain. Like later on in the movie, she literally in a like Saw in the ocean like scene has to fucking swim through a school of jellyfish. Like literally that's a scene out of Saw. Like throw them in a
In order
tank.
to survive, you will have to swim through a school of jellyfish.
So like and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying like, and I was joking over email, like maybe I've gone soft, but at some point in this movie I went like, I cannot just watch pain be inflicted on this woman.
I think
for
you've
any
gone
longer.
soft. Like I think that's a big part of this movie.
It's totally possible. It's I'm not.
Are you
I'm not.
going to be able to watch The Purge? Because isn't that pretty much all that happens?
Yeah, but the Purge is
in all-
just murdering people. Like that's fine. Like it's this like
He is 100%
So
okay with the
it's
murder.
the slow
Murder,
burn torture.
okay.
it's
that,
the like, hey, I'm gonna sew a fucking wound up on my leg, cool, or you know, like I'm gonna stick my hand in this dead whale's like wound so that I can pull myself up on top
you
of
would
it.
not be able to handle Grey's Anatomy. That's like
I
all
don't.
the-
I hate Grey's Anatomy for that exact reason.
I
It's
didn't
like-
realize Grey's Anatomy had that much. Like,
That's the funniest thing about it is I
Like
actually
gruesome.
No, it does. It's surgery porn.
It's that's the best part. It's like all just like it's steamy romance,
and gore.
sexually lit hospitals, and then just random, really disgusting,
Like
medical shit.
horrendous gore. It's awful.
Just out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. All of
And they're
those
talking about fucking while they're dealing with the horrendous gore.
all
It's
of
like,
those shows are like that. It's the worst. Anyway, so like there's nothing wrong with that. I just honestly at some point I was like, man, this movie is grisly.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I think that's one of the strengths of it, honestly.
And
Yeah,
she
I
keeps
agree.
hitting, she keeps like every time she falls in the water, she hits the fire coral, and it's just like it's a torture sequence.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the hell the deal was with the jellyfish. Like, I get it, the shark wasn't gonna swim through them, but like, why were they like glowing? Like, were
Well,
they?
first of all, that's horror. Yeah, the I'm pretty sure the only ones that glow are the ones that live like so deep in the ocean that there's no light.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought maybe it was like she was seeing them glow only after she got stung, and then I don't know. It was
No,
just.
I
very
think they
So
were.
she became part jellyfish, and then
I think they were.
She was
See,
one
It
of
was
the
just
jellyfish.
artistic
glowing.
direction going
Yeah.
on there.
I think they were suggesting that they were photoluminescent. I do not believe that that would be the case, but I mean that was a crazy scene because I'm like, are you serious? She's got to swim through the goddamn jellyfish now.
Well, that was like a
But it
lot
was
of
well
the
done.
reaction in the crowd. It was just people were like reacting with laughter with like everything that showed up. Like, are you fucking kidding me? In that similar way, like, oh, she's got to make it through jellyfish now because of course she does.
So basically, there's three. It's like the One-Eyed Willie's map in the Goonies. Like there's 3 points out in the ocean that she traverses throughout this film. She starts out on
Sick reference, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She starts out on the dead whale. At some point in the film, she makes it over to the rock.
Pretty quickly makes it over the
When
rock.
the tide gets high later on in the movie, she's got to ditch the rock for this old ass buoy that's within like visual distance. So she makes it to it, and it's like
All right, spoiler alert in case anyone wants to see this.
yes,
'cause we're
spoiler alert.
diving.
She makes it to
Get
it.
it.
After swimming through the aforementioned jellyfish and like just getting fucked up, and then like the shark just starts attacking the buoy because the shark's angry at this point. I don't know. Like literally, he's flailing.
I mean, he's been stalking her. Of course he's angry.
He's flailing himself up in the air and hitting the buoy. And as he's doing this, we see that the buoy is anchored with 3 chains down to a concrete thing on the seafloor. And then slowly, one by one, as the shark's hitting him, the chains are popping until there's only one that's still connected because it's old and old and rusty. There's kind of a great tense scene where she grabs onto the railing and the rust just crumbles away, and then the movie goes slow-mo for a second. She's like this, and then she just splashes back. That was actually really cool. Yeah. But then this thing happens that I kind of want somebody to explain to me because I do not understand it. But yeah, I can't even remember what happened. She somehow knows in her head that the last chain's gonna snap, and grabs onto it, and it pulls her underwater, and the shark chases her underwater, and then at the last second she's out of the way and it gets impaled on something.
All right, I will try to do some justice.
Can we just say that it's ridiculous?
It's pretty far-fetched, but I mean, you're also, again, believing she survives and is able to swim without having drank any water for 2 days.
My overwhelming thing is that the sequence of events
seemed a little sleepy, John.
She did. The sequence of events that she unleashes, they seem intentional. It seems like she did it intentionally, and she's literally fighting for her life on top of a buoy with a storm crashing on her. I don't see any way in hell that. So I don't understand how she could have understood the sequence of events she was about to undergo.
All right. So I don't think she intentionally meant that ending to happen when she swims to the buoy. What happens is the shark starts
not when she swims to the buoy, but in the moments leading up to her doing it, it seemed like she was intentionally doing what she did.
Basically the chains started breaking off the buoy because the shark is fucking kamikazing itself right into the buoy. So the first one breaks, and then I think what she notices, because it starts rocking really hardcore, and then the second one breaks, and at that point she's can't even stay on the buoy because it's not being stabilized at all. So she's in the water, and she basically takes the thing off her leg, ties it onto the last chain, and waits for the shark to come hit it again, knowing that it's going to break. And as soon as it does, the chain is heavy enough to drag her to the bottom.
Could she even see the chains? Because I thought the chains were all the way underwater.
No, the chains are holding the buoy.
No, but I thought they were holding them so low that how could she even see
what
them?
I didn't understand, I think when she's swimming under the jellyfish, she sees the thing at the bottom. Because the real question is, how did she know that those spikes were big enough to kill the shark?
Have you ever opened your eyes underwater in the ocean?
That's what I was about to say. Well, salt water,
yeah, you just go,
yeah.
oh god.
I mean, but it is it's nice blue ocean, not
that's true.
Jersey Shore.
You're just I have made a huge mistake. No, but you can't see because of the salt water. You can't just look in salt water.
I don't know. Your eyes
maybe
are
as a
pretty
surfer, she
saline,
knew.
right?
I mean, I would imagine as a surfer, you have to probably know the dangers of coral or how, I don't know.
See, first thing you do.
Maybe as a med student, she's been rubbing salt in her eyes for 7 years to get used to it.
No, the first thing you do is you spit on your hands and then you rub it in your eyes so they don't get foggy.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think that's true. So
makes a squeaky noise. I mean, really, that was, I mean, it was a cool visual, but it was kind of what the fuck just happened?
It was in a ridiculous, and it's kind of bummed me out because there were plenty of other ways that you could have ended the movie and retained the dumbness of the rest of the movie, but still had a little bit of sensicalness.
I mean,
it.
I was
she
expecting
needed to kill the shark though. How else was she gonna do it?
And I mean, it was the climax of the movie. It needed to be this big to do. So it was a little far fetched for me, but it didn't bother me.
When stuff started, when poles started snapping off of the buoy, I was fully expecting that she was just gonna javelin the shit out of him 20 times with things that were snapping off the buoy. That's what I thought. But
pull up Hall Rod in Halloween 6 kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I don't know if you guys have ever watched this can't be the first time I've mentioned this on the show, but one of the Shark Week Mythbusters. The myth was about whether you should, if you're being approached by a shark, whether you should boop it on the tip of its nose.
Boop is the official term.
And so they set up this Rock'em Sock'em robot. They built a giant Rock'em Sock'em robot and found they couldn't get it accurate enough to test. So they put one of them in a chainmail suit and sent him into water with sharks. And he tried booping him on the nose and it didn't work. And he found out what you really have to do is you got to punch him in the gills, which makes sense.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Wait a minute.
It's like-
How could they get away with doing that to an animal on television?
Sorry, I mean, he booped him in the gills.
He booped him in the gills.
Very few sharks were injured in the making
I don't
of
even
It
this.
was, it was a gentle booping on the gills.
I don't even have gills, and that sounds painful.
I mean, imagine getting booped in the Adam's apple. That'd be
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh.
I have a huge Adam's apple, too.
Yeah, I know. It's an easy target. Me too.
A little kid once told me I had an alien bursting out of my neck.
Kids.
Yeah.
He didn't boop it, did he?
I booped him in the face, my
Yeah.
fist.
Jesus.
Just kidding. Anything else you guys want to talk about this movie? It's cray cray.
No.
It was pretty fun. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
this is
Like, honestly, better than I expected.
Right.
this
Definitely.
is kind of just like dumb summer fun movie to a T.
And you know what? Like, thinking back, it actually had a pretty decent marketing campaign, too.
Yeah.
Like, the trailers were pretty
I
good.
have been like bombarded with shit about this movie on TV, like on billboards.
It's been a while since we've had a good sharky thriller.
I will watch this in summers to come, drinking beer with my, kids.
I
Like,
saw
probably annoying the shit out of me.
I saw
so-
some B movie a few years ago
Fucking kids.
with killer sharks where they were like at a lake house or something. I don't know how there were
Shark
sharks
Lake,
there.
isn't that what that was
Yeah.
called?
Maybe, but the guy from Blair Witch was in it, and then there were people at the end who were like genetically mixed with
Oh,
sharks.
we did
and
that
they
on
had-
the show. Was it
Yeah.
called Shark Lake? No, what was that called?
I don't think it was Shark Lake. It was something crazy.
There is a movie called Shark Lake. That's
Oh,
not
we
what-
did-
Oh
we-
my God!
we-
What the
We totally did it on the show.
Shark
Yeah.
Night? I don't know what that
Yeah,
is.
it might.
But
it
people
might,
were genetically modified with sharks.
Like literally, I don't
It
remember
is
why.
Shark Night. Mark wins.
Shark Night,
It
nice.
was 3D.
Where the fuck did I pull that from? Oh, I don't know. Wow.
That was in
I
a
that was
theater.
2011. Yeah, it was in the theater.
Nice.
Wow, what the fuck? That's ridiculous.
It's it was Sarah Paxton.
Yes, Sarah Paxton and that guy from the Blair Witch Project.
Oh,
Yeah.
nothing's too far gone that it can't be dug back up. I can't believe I remember the name of that movie.
Literally, I can't believe I remembered seeing the movie. I was thinking about it while I was watching this for some reason. I don't know. Probably sharks. All right.
That was a movie.
Would you recommend this movie to someone? If so, in the theater? Question mark. Mark.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of options this summer, but if you're looking for some stupid fun, it's pretty fun.
John.
Yes.
Cece.
Sure.
I'd say yeah, and like this might be one of the rare instances where I would recommend seeing this on like a Friday or Saturday night. And if you can get to a theater where you can drink in, forget
Even
about
better.
it. Yeah, forget about it. It's fun. And honestly, like, it's just fun. It's a good
Yeah.
story.
It's a good summer movie.
Good times.
Good for Blake Lively. Don't call it a comeback, Schnars.
Listen, I am fine with more Blake Lively. in
Two
my
quick
life.
questions. How did this movie do? Which I can look up if someone else wants to look up if there's a movie guide.
So it did
Oh,
fairly
shit.
well. It did about 19 million. It's over 20 now because it's doing okay even during the week. And the budget was 17 million. So this is actually like a pretty small budget little movie.
It should have been 5.
I mean, listen, there was some pretty nice like shots. Like there was some good helicopter work here where I love the shot of her. paddling
Sorry,
out.
I just started reading the movie guide. Keep going.
All right. I love the shot of her paddling out for the first time, and it's probably a helicopter, I would assume.
Oh,
They
yeah,
could maybe
it
do
was
those with
beautiful.
drones now. I don't
it,
know.
It was beautiful in the beginning. Like I actually thought the surfing stuff was really well done. There's
And
actually
I really thought you were gonna go with the gratuitous butt shot as to why you enjoyed that paddling out scene.
there was
dude, that was not even like the third best gratuitous butt shot. Let's be clear.
there was a really cool moment too towards the end, and then we'll wrap it up where like a lot of the beginning before the attack happens is her kind of luxuriating in the beauty of like where she is, right? Like she obviously lives she's had some issues and she's getting away from it, and then she goes through just this like nightmare ride, and at the very end when she's like saved and on the beach, she stops and like hears the birds and like the surf, and like I don't know, I thought that was kind of a cool like way to bring things around from the beginning. It's kind of neat. All right, Mark, what is Movie Guide?
Movie Guide is our favorite website. It's a website that was founded by a pastor or some sort of Christian-leaning person, and it reviews all of these mainstream movies for their objectionable content. So us very sensitive moviegoers know what to expect when we go into watching a theatrical feature. So, The Shallows features: the light humanist worldview overall, where no god or higher power is acknowledged. Three obscenities, including one F word, and 2 light exclamatory profanities. Plus, woman tries to eat a crab but vomits it back up.
I think, by the way, I think it's clear that shark is God.
We didn't even talk about that scene, which was the grossest scene in the movie. I
Pretty
think.
gross. Some very strong violence includes a video camera shows a shark attacking a person, recording the video. Implied death by shark attack as the viewers hear it. Man's body is cut in half by a shark and his innards are shown on the beach. A dead whale carcass floats in the water with multiple shark bites. A woman is bitten in the leg.
That's objectionable content.
Yeah.
It's nature, man.
A large bloody wound is shown. Woman painfully closes her shark bite wound with sharp earrings. Woman steps on coral that stings her in multiple places. Woman stung by jellyfish. Shark kills 2 men and lots of blood is shown in the water. Shark tries to kill a woman multiple times and destroys a metal buoy in the water. Fish is impaled.
Shut up.
Seagull's wing is injured by a shark. No sexual content. Natural upper male nudity while wearing bathing suits.
What?
Plus, a woman wears a bikini.
Oh my god.
A drunk man is shown passed out on the beach, and another scene mentions recovering from a hangover. No smoking or drugs, and a man steals a woman's belongings on the beach.
I love that stepping on coral.
Yeah.
It's like,
You know, well, it's
it
really
literally just goes like, zzz, and she goes, ow, and like that's it.
well, that's it though, right? It's super interesting to see them like lay out a movie that's not like a heavily spiritual demon, like
Guys,
religious-y thing.
This is the debut of natural upper male nudity,
Yeah.
which, as far as I can tell, is only related to wearing a bathing suit.
Episode 382.
So unnatural.
it's the only time it's
In other
natural
words,
for
he was.
men.
In other
Can you
words,
imagine?
in other words, it was not removing clothing to do something sensual with somebody. It was a
Sensual,
necessity
not
for what he
sensual.
was doing.
it was just for swimming.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the type of moviegoer who like sees a person in a bathing suit and is like, "Oh fuck this! I got to get my kids out of here." Like, what the fuck?
Can you imagine being the guy in the theater sitting next to this guy who was like confused when with this shirtless guy came on screen and he started furiously scribbling notes? Do you think they like
this guy? Do you think it's one guy who goes and sees this, or does he have like minions and they all go out?
Oh,
to,
he
like,
has to
these
have
people?
minions, right?
Do you think that they have minions that go and like cam movies and then give them to them so they can do it in the privacy of their
No,
own
I
home?
maintain that this is a way for this dude to see all these movies
That's what
and
I
wonder. Yeah,
like
yeah.
feel better
And
about
not
it.
feel guilty about it. Totally.
Yeah.
No, I think we established that a long time ago.
Oddly, upper male nudity is always in bold and underlined. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why.
All the upper male.
Yeah. Upper male nudity.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the Shallows. That's, if you're keeping track at home, 4 thumbs up from the BGH crew. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Ask anyone who was brave enough to see Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, and they will tell you they were terrified over and over and over and over. The 12th, the 13th, Friday the 13th. We dare you to see this film all over London and in the West End. Your Fright Day will be the day you're brave enough to see Friday the 13th. Certificate X.
Hey, this is Brian O'Halloran. You might know me from such films as Clerks, Clerks 2, Brutal Massacre. You're listening to BloodyGoodHorror.com.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back. Back in the house. My call last week for people to give me suggestions for dramatic drama, horror, serial podcasts pretty much generated our entire list of fan mail this week. But first up, info@bloodygoodhorror.com. First up from James. Will you guys be reviewing Purge election year? And a follow-up question. if you could rob any place during the purge, what would it be? What would you steal and why?
Ooh,
I'm a relatively
that's
new.
a good question.
I'm a relatively new listener, and I must say I love the podcast. The only thing I would change is to make it longer because it is that good.
Oh. Well, we can oblige you, my friend.
Yeah.
Correct. I will say, do you remember when we were kids, and I don't remember what the show was, but there was some show where if you won, then you were like a kid and you got to be in this department store and fill your cart with as much shit as you could in like 2 minutes. And I would always daydream about just like...
This was a Nickelodeon thing, wasn't it?
Me, I don't remember, but I would always daydream about running to the back, getting like a Nintendo or whatever the hell it was, and just fucking doing this with the games and just getting every single game in my cart.
Yeah. I think they strategically laid out that department store to make it real tough.
It's bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to fucking GameStop. I think that's...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I probably would do the same. I mean, you could also just go to like a diamond store and just fucking...
I was going to say, I mean...
make some money.
Do I get to flip whatever I steal? Like, that might change where I want to go.
Stealing, no, because that's not fun. Like, I want to know, like, what's in your heart? Like, you're walking down the road and the ride's going down and you got a brick in your hand. Where are you going first?
I don't know what this says about me, but all I'm thinking of is like food. Like
I was
food
gonna say,
and beer.
Cheese store.
Yeah, seriously.
Are there...
The guy who runs the guy
little fingerfuls of like 200-year-old cheeses in a
the guy who runs the cheese store is gonna be standing there like, seriously, you're robbing my fucking cheese store?
I mean, John's got a good point though. Are people really gonna raid the cheese store? Like, that's actually probably a pretty good idea.
Pretty safe, right? You know. Yeah. So
you guys are lame. Cece, what about you? Do you rob the library?
I mean, I was gonna say, what
they
what
let
do
you
I
take
have?
the books for free,
Barn.
Eric.
I know, like, I don't know. I'm not sure what good that would do. So, but that's what I spend the majority of my money on. So it would save me a lot of money, and I could read a lot during the 12 hours that I'm shut up during the purge.
Barnes and Noble? They're a big faceless corporation. I wouldn't feel bad about that, right?
That's true. I wouldn't feel bad about Barnes and Noble, and that's quite an array of different genres of books.
You know, forgive me if like I'm just misremembering the movies, but I feel like looting does not seem like that big of a part of the purge. It seems mostly about murder. I guess that's just like the part that they choose to frame.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or just like destruction in general. I mean, most of I think it's just like general mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna park in a permit zone.
I'm actually
take that, city of Chicago.
I'm actually like I kind of want to put this out to the listeners now because I'm curious what some other answers are. So if you have an answer as to what you would be robbing during the purge,
I know. I wish I had like read that earlier this morning so I could have thought about it all day.
Let us know. Ask BGH is the hashtag on Twitter at BG Horror. Next up, Rob. Okay, so here's like a ton of people sending in suggestions here.
Can you like aggregate them into a list and just tell us them?
Nope. Rob says, listening to Southbound moment you mentioned about podcasts that are similar to Night Vale but less dumb, I suggest I know I'm Mark. I'm the only one that thinks that. I suggest checking out King Falls AM. I didn't like it. And Uncanny County. I have not listened to that one yet.
What was that one?
Uncanny County.
I haven't.
Uncanny County is fairly new. I think there are only about 5 or 6 episodes so far. King Falls AM has 20 odd episodes. So you can easily binge listen to that. It was fine. I just wasn't into it. And he says also check out Audio Drama Sunday on Twitter. Hashtag Audio Drama Sunday. Or no, maybe that's just an account. Lots of new audio dramas, so something in there might crop up that piques your interest. And Caitlin says the Night Vale guys have another podcast called Alice Isn't Dead. It's not really silly like Night Vale. A few others are Limetown, The Black Tapes, and Archive 81. I did listen to a little bit of Alice Isn't Dead, so that's made by the Night Vale guys.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that one.
It was better. I think I'm just too picky. I just think I don't know what I want, but my biggest...
You should make your own, bruh.
Well, here's my biggest issue. Limetown blew my gourd open, and I have not been able to listen to anything that's even like approaching how good Limetown is.
Yeah, Limetown's really good. The biggest problem, and this is like the problem, I think it's why it's really hard to make one of these, is like that level of quality is fucking difficult to do on a one-shot basis.
Because even if you somehow have the equipment, which is huge, and the technical chops to do it, you need to find good voice actors, and that's probably the hardest thing.
Yeah, it's also expensive to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to like invest really heavily. And, you know, guys, podcasts aren't making like a shitload of money right now. I mean, they do fine, but if you're talking about employing actors and stuff, it gets real pricey real fast.
But anyway, I appreciate all of the suggestions, and I did, like I said, I've been as I've had the chance to, I've been kind of trying to check some of those out. So Alice Isn't Dead had like a few creepy moments, but just like didn't feel like something I was gonna just want to listen to long term. I don't know.
Do you think we could get Trader Joe's to sponsor us so that we can create our own fiction podcast?
Sure.
Yo, I'm in.
Definitely.
We shop almost exclusively at Trader Joe's.
Oh, I love it. It's like so communist. There's no choices. You're like, I just want an apple. Cool. There's one kind of apple.
Totally.
Now that's what I have.
But it's cheaper.
I love that.
They're on a real mango kick lately. You notice that, Eric?
Yeah, it's really funny you say that because my wife bought a bunch of cans of mango juice today from Trader Joe's.
They're going hard on the mangoes.
Caitlin, finally catching up on episodes after being in Oklahoma for 2 weeks at a horse show.
Sure.
And was disappointed. Eric didn't mention that Carl from Insidious was in it. He was the priest. P.S. I took a bunch of normies to see it, and explaining what the Wandaverse is to a bunch of cowboys is impossible, but I tried.
I'm not even sure I fully understand.
Good effort. I thought we did talk about Carl, didn't we?
We did, and then the week after.
Okay.
Yeah. Next
we
up.
had to issue a correction.
Next up, Rachel. Hi, Eric. I love Bloody Good Horror. It never fails to make me laugh each week. If you're still on the hunt for an awesome podcast that has the strangest of Night Vale but isn't silly, I definitely recommend checking out Archive 81. That's the second recommendation for that. I have not listened to that. The Behemoth and the Black Tapes. They're all addictive. Hope you enjoy listening. I haven't listened to those other two, but I've talked about Black Tapes a lot. It started out really promising, but got so confusing.
Yeah, that's how I thought about Black Tapes.
I feel like it got up its own ass in a way that kind of lost me. So it's kind of cool though. The premise is neat, but they just kind of lost it. I felt like. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. Here's the website for Archive 81. 3 months ago, Daniel Powell vanished. These are the tapes he sent me. If you know anything, please contact me. New episodes will be released every other Wednesday.
I'm curious, did he send the tapes before he left, or is he sending these tapes as he's vanished?
That's a good question.
Guess I'll have to listen.
We're also on Twitter at BG Horror with the hashtag AskBGH. Mark, I'd also like to check out the BGH Classics if anything is there.
I think there was one new one.
John,
I did
can
check.
you put that in the chat while I go through these? This first one is from Philly's fam, our very own Sophie. I want to know what the team thought of Jason Segel's cameo in this movie.
Amazing.
Hashtag that bird. And also, she posted a GIF. She posted the GIF of the dude just getting randomly fucking burnt in the ocean, and it's amazing.
Well, and then they cut back to Blake Lively, and the seagull casually strolls by behind her on the rock.
Yeah, it's so it's amazing. It's like it's so goofy when you look at the GIF, when you look at it repeat, because you can just see how like cheesy the shark is. It's amazing.
Mark, I think you skipped one from the 23rd that we did not read on the last episode, and I thought it was a good question.
Toss it in the chat, yo.
Sorry, now I'm looking at classics. Keep going, and I'll toss it in.
All right, this one also not a question, also from one of our writers, Evan Sleed. I love this movie so much. That's all.
That's fair. That's fair assessment, I think.
I honestly, the more I think about it, the more ridiculous I think it is, and the more I think I like it. Like I just really enjoyed it.
Totally.
We just talked about it, so there you go. This is from B. Lassiter. Is The Shallows about people who judge others by the size of their TV and the cost of their cars?
Oh, zing.
Get it?
Yes, it's a precursor to The Purge election year.
He's calling you a shallow, Eric.
I am the opposite of shallow. I'm deep.
So, Mark, for some reason,
So deep.
I don't know if you do this, but for some reason, when I click on top, it doesn't show up, but then I click on live and it does. In any event, I'm sending the link to you now.
Well, that's a bunch of hot bullshit.
I know, Twitter. Get your act together.
What the
Jesus.
fuck? Oh my God.
The best screen name ever.
Yeah, I think this person has already sent one in because I think I remarked that it was my favorite the first time I read it. Still my favorite. So get your game together, everybody else. This is from Chupacabro7.
Yeah, can I point out that his the display name is Chupacabro, but the actual Twitter name is Chupacabro7, which means 6 other people also have that name. And I want to just go down the line and keep putting numbers in and see how far it goes.
Well, if we wait long enough, maybe there'll be like that little verified check. Like, no, this is the real Chupacabro.
Don't get it twisted.
The Amityville Horror House is for sale, $850K. Could any of you guys live in a house where 6 people were murdered?
No.
I don't know that I would want to live in that house, but our family house in Tennessee used to be a doctor's office, like in the 1800s, and
Oh.
several people died there. I mean, maybe not horrendously. Well,
Could have been murdered. You don't know
could
what
have been
doctors were
murdered.
doing.
I don't know.
You know what's
but
funny is like I don't even really believe in ghosts, and I would not want to live in a house where people got murdered.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I looked up when I saw that house was for sale. They talk about how like even if you live there, the people consistently stop on a daily basis and like want to come in or like want to talk to you. So I don't know if the ghost would run you off or the other actual
The
humans.
price is pretty high. Like how many
Well, it's
beds?
a huge house.
Oh, is
It's
it really?
ginormous, yeah, and it's got like a
okay.
boathouse, and it's right on the lake.
Oh,
I
the
mean, it's
Amityville
got-
one?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's on the water.
Yeah, it's a pretty big house.
Never mind. I'd live there.
Yeah, you can see in like several of the movies that use the actual like replica of the house or whatever, you can see the boathouse.
Mm-hmm.
Boathouses are expensive, bro. You ever been in a boathouse? Shit's crazy.
There you go. All right, this one's from Alan Murch. As I'm scared of flying and heading over to California on Sunday, what is your favorite plane-based horror movie or book?
Ooh.
I sleep on planes. The second the engines start up, I'm out like a light.
That's not the answer to his question, though.
Yeah.
I'm just
Survivor by Chuck Palahniuk. That's a pretty good plane-based book.
All I can think of is Twilight Zone. All I can think of is
Snakes on a plane.
Plane
based
is.
I got
Snakes on a plane is so bad.
I
It's
got
not
it.
Even like it's not even like good.
I have the
I
best.
saw it in the theater.
I have
I
the
was
best
in
Yeah,
answer.
no, I saw it at a drive-in. I was like really excited about it.
I have the answer.
or no, go
It
ahead.
is The Langoliers TV movie by Stephen King,
That is ridiculous.
starring Bronson Pinchot.
I would have accepted Lost. How about I mean, the problem is most movies that feature planes, the plane is not staying in the air, and that's not necessarily where you want to go here.
I'm actually not kidding, by the way. I love that movie.
So are you getting at Final Destination? Is that what you're getting
Yeah.
at?
No, I
Fine.
was gonna go with wolf fights. What the hell? The wild.
Oh my God. What
The
the hell is
Wild.
it?
No.
It's not called the wild.
Fuck.
This is gonna drive me crazy.
Where the wild things are. No.
Yeah, where the wild things are. Yeah.
The Gray.
Are you talking about? The Gray.
It's
The Gray. Yes. I guess it's not really a plane movie. It just has a plane scene in it.
Yeah, this
How about-
podcast is going to be so hard, like when we're senile and our memory starts to go, because we can't even remember shit now.
have any of you guys seen the movie? And I asked because I was actually really interested to see it, and I just never got around to it. Flight Plan.
No, it's Jodie Foster.
Yeah, it's like
Did
the one
anything
where.
like Soul Plane?
Oh, guys, hold on! I just solved this one. Harrison Ford, Air Force One.
No.
Fucking
No.
That
not
was a good
even a
one.
question.
No.
Or
keep
Con Air,
talking
actually.
about
I would
Air
accept
Force
Con Air.
Ones.
and Con
my
Air might
God.
win.
Fucking Con Air.
I would go Air Force One over Con Air, but that's me.
No,
Give me,
I
give
like
me
Con Air
back
better.
the bunny.
Oh my God, Con Air makes me so happy, and I just rewatched it recently, and somehow had forgotten Dave Chappelle was in it, which
Oh.
just makes it my even more my favorite movie.
It's literally one of the craziest movies ever made.
There's two
That
men I
accent
trust.
kills me.
One of them's me, and the other's not you. I have that movie on VHS. That probably
Yeah.
is not a surprise.
We used to watch that a fair bit back
It's
in the
so
day.
good. It is of all to me like The Rock is really good, but of all the just ridiculously cheesy, corny '90s action movies, I feel like Con Air is the one.
It is just
up there.
it's just fucking it's next level. Like it's so the premise is so insane. It's the craziest. The
Dude, and,
premise
like,
is
Steve,
insane.
you-
It has this amazing ensemble cast.
Oh my
with,
God.
Like, the closest thing like an action movie has to an ensemble cast.
The
before.
cast is unreal. The
It's
cast
crazy.
is unbelievable. Steve Buscemi's in that movie. Like
Mhm.
John Malkovich,
Malkovich, yeah.
fucking Ving Rhames, Nick Cage.
John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
It's also weird because John Malkovich plays. I mean, he plays a
No,
psycho,
it's
but
not.
he's
It's not.
kind
Danny
of a
Trejo?
badass.
It's not John Leguizamo. You're thinking of.
Oh no, it's not. That's true. I'm sorry.
That's racist.
Yeah.
No, it's.
You're thinking of the dude. You're thinking of the dude that was in Hackers.
I'm hanging up.
The guy was in Hackers. I can't think of his name.
Oh Lord.
CC, you're the best. Yeah, so Con Air. I think we solved it. It's Con Air, without a doubt. All right, this next one is from Jeff Hicks. Can I get a shout out for my T-shirt biz? Google AdWords is hard. I do horror stuff. So this is incarnate-studios.com. And he's got a lot of really ridiculous shirts. I think my favorite one might be the Shitbusters shirt, which is just the Ghostbusters logo with the poop emoji instead of the goose.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do any of his shirts feature bats with titties?
I think someone else has already cornered that market.
Yeah, the market's been very well sewn up.
Don't mind me, just looking at these shirts.
In any event, that's
got a really good
what's it called?
Shirt.
Incarnate shirts.
Incarnate-studios.com.
Incarnate-studios. Okay. Very good.
There you go. Okay, next one. Jared.
Yeah, we were struggling with how to pronounce that earlier, but I went with DJ.
DJ Arid. Is Joe short for Joseph or Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo?
Strong reference. Simpsons throwback.
I also don't know. It's probably Joseph. It's probably Joseph.
I think it's Joe Sama.
Josiah.
Yeah.
Josephine. It's Josephine.
If only he was here to tell us.
Yeah. This next one is from Kabuki29. What is the best new horror franchise of the last 16 years? 16 is very specific.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's
in the 2000s. Yeah.
Franchise, so there's got to be more than one.
Does franchise mean more than one or more than two?
I hate to say it, but 16 years might be Saw.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would go the Paranormal Activity movies or Saw.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm with you. That's good.
How loose are we gonna go? Because it depends. Ask me this question after I see the third Purge movie because I really loved the second one and I'm feeling pretty excited. Like in terms of cultural impact, I feel like the Purge is actually kind of like broken through in a way that
I don't know. Those Paranormal Activity movies are super mainstream though.
Yeah.
Like people love that shit.
But is it like well, what did he say? Best franchise? Like that's hard.
Yeah.
It's because best is like, especially when you look at.
What's your favorite? That's all he wants to know.
Yeah, Purge.
All
Done.
right, that's fine.
The Purge.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
I'm gonna say Ouija.
Dude, hold on. Did you guys get the trailer for the new Ouija movie?
Yeah, it actually looked not bad.
I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, it didn't look that bad. And it's
gonna be ridiculous.
It's another like PG-13.
I can't wait for the Unfriended prequel where it's like the person who invented Skype. Like it's like how they, like how they came up with Skype and how dead people get in it.
Listen. I love that movie. You shut your whore mouth.
I liked it too. I just am being a jerk.
I will just say I really like the setup of like huckster who like tricks people in seances and things.
Is that what that was?
Gets haunted. Yeah, that's Ouija in the second Ouija.
I don't even remember. Oh, I just remember like seeing the trailer for the third one and being like, huh, that looks kind of cool.
Wait, is it the third one?
It's the third one because I thought
Origin
the
of
second
Evil?
one already came out.
I thought it was yeah, I'm confused too then.
I think they just renamed the second one. And it's now a prequel. I also lulled a little bit when at the end of the preview it said like it's produced by Hasbro. And I was like, meh.
You are correct.
Yeah, so.
Word. All right, we got a lot to get through, but they're all pretty good questions, so I'm just going to keep going. This one's from BC Likes You. Hey, Mark, I passed Kingsborough the other day. Was that your favorite college house? Kingsborough.
Too specific. Move on.
Yeah, too specific. But if you've heard Eric tell the story about the time that he visited me and there was a coffee cup with a moldy tea bag in it, it was at that house. Also, that was the house where we broke.
Great story.
We broke the handle. This is a better story. We broke the handle on the toilet because we were college students and didn't think we could afford $2 to replace the handle on the toilet. We just tied the chain to a plastic vine. So like it was like the TV show Dinosaurs. You just pulled the vine and flushed the toilet.
That is pretty good. All right.
That was my favorite college house because it was just so fucking disgusting. It's like a place I can't even imagine even walking into, let alone living in now. So there you go. Next one.
So college,
is
basically.
Also from, I choose to call him DJ Arid. Eric BGH, eating chicken pre-show, and it's a picture of Bart eating a cracker.
Yeah, so nobody showed up to the pre-show stream, so I put it live, and I just sat there eating my chicken with the mic muted. You're welcome for muting the mic.
Patreon.
You're welcome.
Well, next time I'll join you because I was trying to eat a turkey burger, so we'll just eat in silence.
No, and it was like full on chicken legs, like with my hands. It was like real gross. So you're welcome, listeners. This is what you're missing if you're not a patron.
Oh my god.
Listen,
we actually had very stimulating pre-show.
We promised the people a pre-show, and I delivered. So no big deal.
Well, they got a lot of pre-show thanks to one of the members of the show who showed up.
We did actually. Schnar showed up, and we geeked out about Game of Thrones for like 15 minutes.
You can thank our good friends at Comcast for that hot bullshit, Jonathan. Or is it short for something else? The next one, DJ Arid. There's another one from him too. He's really throwing down.
Well, he's watching Eric eat chicken, so
so he's already my favorite
doing
person.
An episode for In the Deep later this year, or are you all sharked out for 2016?
Is this another shark movie? I'm not aware of this.
I was not familiar with it either, but no, it's actually The Shallows. It was originally called In the Deep, is what it looks like.
Oh.
Yes, because when I Google it, that's what shows up.
Is it that? I was thinking the Adele song. Is that
Those are two oddly opposite names.
Yes. Maybe The Deep was a reference to like cancer, I think.
Maybe somebody went like maybe somebody said like
Yikes.
Somebody said like, "Hey guys, it's actually not that deep where she is."
Yeah. She's actually in one of the more shallow parts of the ocean.
I got it.
Oh, we really should have thought about this. All right. Next one's from the Lausch Round Robin. Best shark movie that isn't Jaws. Also, is Neon Demon going to be main feed or is it Fisticult?
Short answer is Fisticult on the second part.
I'm going to say Shark Night.
I was thinking about this question for
Zombie
a while.
2.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to go with. Damn it, Mark.
Yeah, Zombie. Do you remember in the 90s, this is not a shark movie, but I don't think it's a shark movie. They did a big mini series on that Peter Benchley novel about was it a big squid or something?
Yeah. It was called The Beast, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I kind of liked that when I was a kid. I don't remember if it was good, though.
I looked at all the shark movies on Box Office Mojo anyway, and they have allegedly everything since 1975. There really weren't that many.
Yeah, because it's a gimmick you can only pull off every once. Like, you have to. It's got to be long enough since the last big shark movie, I feel like.
Well, it's probably also, I mean, it is expensive to do, right? I mean,
it's a very specific thing.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we've talked about it at some point, but Deep Blue Sea is one of the other most ridiculous movies and bad ridiculous ever made, I would say.
I mean, also like it's artistic license, but I would say Piranha 3D because I feel like it's a lot of the same kind of feelings and
we could extend it to other sharp-toothed and seafaring animals.
I want to know why there's not a lamprey movie. I need to see that happen.
Lamprey 3D.
Yep.
Yeah, like are they just killer eels from Princess Bride? Like big.
They're like slugs with like circle mouths with a lot of teeth.
Do you remember that?
Hollywood, we're here, just
all day.
Do you remember that Christopher Lloyd was in Piranha 3D?
Yeah, he was in both of them.
He's like the scientist that gives the info dump on the
Piranha. I really wish you had finished that whole sentence before you corrected yourself, because that would have been really funny. Yeah, wasn't that crazy that Christopher Reeve was in?
My bad.
Okay. Last two, Robale. Best cheese for a burger.
I like
pepper jack.
Sharp
Close.
cheddar.
So I'm going to go cheddar with a normal burger, but there are many situations where blue is also the acceptable answer.
I would also accept Munster.
Ew.
A little weird. But
yeah, not a fan of Munster.
I'm okay with any cheese on a burger. Yeah, almost any. American is the one that I would say I'm least.
I think the answer is multiple. Multiple cheeses.
All of the cheese. There's a place here called Epic Burger that you can get Havarti on your burger, which I didn't even know what that was until I had it on a burger.
That's a little weird.
Yeah.
Isn't Havarti kind of cream cheesy or something?
It's creamy.
Yeah. I'm fine with American cheese if it's done right.
Yeah. I don't know.
John's a snob. He doesn't like American.
Pepper jack. So we all agree the answer is pepper jack. Oh my God, this DJ fella. He already answered the question about what he would loot, and he said looting the pet store for all the cats.
Oh, so I responded and I said yes, except puppies, and I would steal all the puppies.
Like,
I
books
get and puppies.
I
get stealing
9 of them. I may have overcommitted.
I get stealing puppies, but somehow the image of someone stealing all the cats is so weird and creepy to me.
I don't imagine stealing cats would be as easy as stealing puppies, because cats normally don't want anything to do with you.
A puppy would want to go with you because you're human. They'd just be like, sweet.
All right, this last one is also from D. Jared, and we got to cut him off because he's going to keep going unless we stop. He said, In the Deep, starring Mandy Moore, was previously titled 47 Meters Below.
Huh. I will do some more research, and maybe we
more.
We'll watch it.
God, who knew she was alive? Didn't she just get divorced or something?
Yes, from Ryan Adams.
Don't you judge her.
Heartbreaker.
I mean, I knew that, so I can only judge her so much.
Two sisters on a Mexican vacation are trapped in a shark observation cage at the bottom of the ocean with oxygen running low and great white circling nearby.
Wait a minute.
They have less than an hour of air left to figure out how to get to the surface.
Oh, like they're stuck in like a glass cage or something that's like airified?
So it's buried, but under the sea with a shark.
I will watch that.
They're like, they have scuba tanks on?
No, they're in some kind of like chamber that has air in it, but it's running out.
No, they're in a shark cage and they have oxygen.
So you're telling me for 90 minutes they're not going to be able to talk to each other?
Yeah, that's what
that doesn't make sense.
Unless they've got some like.
I mean, did you think it was like some fucking like David Blaine glass cage that they're in?
I don't fucking know.
Blaine.
That makes more sense than a movie for 90 minutes where they can't talk to each other.
Maybe that's why it didn't come out.
So my guess is this is not coming out in 2016. It is directed by the same guy who did The Other Side of the Door, which we very recently watched for this here show.
The Other Side of the Door.
That was the Indian ghost movie.
Yeah, the one that takes place in India. You might have missed it, Mark.
No, I missed that show.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I will watch it for sure.
Cool. Well, that's it.
BGH Classics?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we have a couple, but we could save them and...
Just bang through them real quick.
All right. So Beth kicked us a couple here. This is at Nerds of Gore. Resident Evil is this crazy avant-garde series, says Eric at BGH, episode 219. This was followed by Joe proclaiming, what? and I actually would say that today. So she does have one for me here. I thought the new Silent Hill trailer looked pretty good. I kind of want to see it now, said Schnars at episode 219. So
the first Silent Hill movies are right. The second one was like, wow, that was not cool.
At Third Breath says, we didn't even see Uncle Touchy's Puzzle Basement. That's Casey, famously from episode 242, Last Exorcism Part 2. We also got one from Ben Ecker, which I will read, although he's sort of breaking the rules. It's in reference to me saying it's a straight murderer's row of directors about a movie that some people call Landis a murderer for. Okay,
wow.
You know, fair. That's not really a classic since it was last episode, but I'll allow it.
Hashtag BGH Classics. That's how you tweet us funny stuff you're listening to. I did have somebody write me in this week asking where they can find old episodes. You can either get them individually from podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com for a small fee, or if you become a Patreon level, a Patreon member, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. At a certain level, you get access to all the old episodes. You also, at one of the pretty low levels, get access to the pre-show, which means, you guessed it, watching me eat chicken before the show.
Sensuously.
Also, don't forget to check
out
out
Chicken Hour.
Don't forget to check out Cece's book club. Turn the music on. That is Goodreads. That's where that is, Cece?
Yes, it's on Goodreads, and you can just search BGH Really Good Horror, and it's a group on Goodreads.
What's the latest book, and when will they have to have it read by?
We are starting The Shuddering by Ania Alborn this week, so you have a while.
So do you have like assignments per week or something?
Yes, it's like 3 chapters a week.
Oof, I'm out. It's a little rich for my
blood. It's like a 250-page book. The chapters aren't that big.
12 pages? Come on.
Yeah, I tried to read Atlas Shrugged once. I only made it about halfway through.
Well, that's a little different.
Right. A whole other problem.
When it's like I don't read fiction, but when I do, I'm like, hey, here's this 4,000-page book I'm gonna read.
Yeah, you might want to start a little smaller.
Mark.
Yeah.
bloodygoodhorror.com.
The website.
Stuff.
By the time you hear this, there will be a list up on the site of horror movies starring former Power Rangers actors, which I'm pretty excited about.
Nice.
So that'll be up there. We've got new reviews every single day.
Love it.
And that's what's happening.
That's it. It's going to do it next week. The Purge Anarchy. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll talk to you then.
Adios.
See yous.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.